there's an interesting Rashi. The first Rashi and the second, there's two parashas this week, Vayakal and Pekida. And the second Rashi is an interesting Rashi. It's the third Rashi on the Posek. Eile Pekida Mishkan, Mishkan Hu Eidis. Rashi says, why is it called Mishkan Hu Eidis? What Mishkan is called Mishkan Hu Eidis. So Rashi says, Eidis li Yisrael, shevitu lem HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Masa Egel, shehishro shechinosoi b'nayim. Aidai, building a Mishkan in Klal Yisrael, this is the Eidis for Eidis li Yisrael, shevitu HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Masa Egel. The Rai is, if someone is Mashre, Shechina, he comes to live with you, that's a Eidis, a sign that he was Mevater al Masa Egel. That's one Rashi. Rashi last week parasha in Kisiso, Rashi says, the Pasuk says, "V'atu leich nechesuam," because Baruch Hu wanted to destroy Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu was mispalu and was matzliach to save Klal Yisrael. But the Eibusha says, "V'atu leich nechesuam," and Rashi dibati loch, "Hina maluchi yalech lefunechu, v'yem pagdi fukadeti alayim chatosam." So Rashi says, what does v'yem pagdi fukadeti alayim chatosam mean? Ato shematu aleichu mechaloisam yachad. Now I listen to you. I shouldn't destroy them at once. Aber v'tomet k'she'eftkod alayim avonesayim v'fukadeti alayim ma'atmen oven azem shar havonis v'im peroni is bo al Yisrael she'ein bo k'tzas mi'peron avoinu egel. There isn't any punishment that comes to Klal Yisrael throughout all the generations that doesn't have with it a bit of the peronius and their punishment from the cheto egel. That means even though now I'm not punishing Klal Yisrael to destroy them at all, but slowly, throughout the generations, I'm going to give it in portions and kleine to bislichasi batzul the ganze perunias was is do of them. So it sounds like these two drashes are like a steer, it contradicts itself. Here Rashi says there wasn't mechila and chetwaigel. Sachakul was that the Eibishter was masking to Moshe, I'm not destroying them right now, but they need a punishment, they're going to get the punishment, I'm going to get the punishment throughout all the generations. And here Rashi says, I've been in a Mishkan, there was a vitter like HaKadosh Baruch Hu Amasa Eigel, and at the Rayish Shechinosa B'nayim. It's one kasha. Second kasha is the famous Gemara in Baba Kama says, Kalo Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yivatron Yivatri Chayav. Someone says the Eibusher forgives, just is Mevater Stamazoi Yivatri Chayav. You did something peronious, either you get a punishment or you do tshuva. There's no such thing that Eibusher says Mevater. Rashi here uses his loshon Shevitter like HaKadosh Baruch Hu Amasa Eigel. Just this Mevater. Vitter comes when someone makes you angry and you want to give him something back, and then he sometimes, okay, it's not so bad, I'll calm down myself. Because the punishment doesn't come because you made him angry or burgers or something, he wants to give you back. He gives you a punishment to bring you back to the right way. So there's no vitter stam, because mevater on the punishment that comes to you. The whole punishment, mechila is that this shiva is do mechila, was do. The whole punishment is to bring you back closer to him. So either you do tshiva and you get back by yourself, or you need to get it by a punishment. But vitter, there's no vitter on such a zach. So the answer to that, I heard the pshat of, based on what Rav Hutner says, is a famous, what Rav Hutner says. The Gemara says there's gimel averis chamiras. All the averis is someone, if a guy comes to you, yareg or yavor, if you want to be over, I'll kill you. You have to be over. There's gimel averis v'chai bohem. There's gimel averis avedazor gilaresh v'chas domim. That yereg v'al yavor. You must kill yourself and you shouldn't be over the avera. Be killed. Yeah, okay, right? Kill yourself. Yes, you must let me. There's the Gemara where there's the Gemara. If you're allowed to jump in, you shouldn't be. There are kids who jumped into from the ship. They shouldn't be. It's a shame. But so the Gemara brings what's the makor for that? So the Gemara says, as Hashem lekechu b'chol avavchu v'chol nafshechu afil anoitas nafshechu, even though he takes away b'chol meidech. The Gemara says, yesh lach adam shechovev v'lav memoinai megifa, yesh adam shechovev gifa memoinai. And then Ritzich and Gili Aroyes, the Gemara says, as a svara, who says your blood is better than that guy's blood, and Gili Aroyes is hekish the Ritzich. So the kasha is, the Rishonim ask the kasha, there's a mitzvah of avas Hashem. You have to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But where does it say that dafka avodah zorah there is this din of b'chal nafshechu? It doesn't say which avayra, which mitzvah you have to do b'chal nafshechu. How do Chazal know that b'chal nafshechu goes on avodah zorah? Maybe it goes on different avayras, different mitzvahs. And Kashi is even much schwer because there are more paskins in Uchas Sikkah based on Aran and Lulav Gozel that by Shar avayras, if someone has an either someone wants to take away all his money, all his rechish, or he should be over the avera. But every loisa says mechiv to give away everything that he has. He shouldn't be over the loisa say, and you learn it out from where b'chol moedechlef. B'chol means b'chol moedechlef means all the moment that you have. It shouldn't be over. So what's meant is, if it goes on by b'chol nafshach, you're telling me only goes on by the zora, al shar virus, yavor val yareg. And by b'chol moedechu, suddenly telling me it goes on alle loises. So what's guide for? So Rav Utner explains based on Ramban in Parshas Yisro. Ramban brings there, b'shteit ba'avodah zorah, steht im Posik as loises shtache velohem veloise avdaim ki noichi Hashem elokechu kail kanu poikad avaynovos. So he brings from the Rambam and Moira says that we only find the Lashon Kanu by avodah zorah. We don't find Kanu by different, Kanu is a type of anger, we don't find it by different averas. And Rambam goes further. That not only we find it by avodah zorah, dafke by avodah zorah from Yidden. We don't never find the Lashon Kanu, even if they're also mitzvahs, Sheva mitzvahs ben anoich of avodah zorah, even if they're over, there's no Kanu. So Rambam explains what's Kanu. Kanu we also find somewhere else in the Torah Kanu. By a soite, v'kinayas ishtoi. Someone, isha goes is mezana tachas bala, we also find v'kinayas ishtoi. So the shorish of the Lashon kinah is a type of anger that is taken be'etzim from the shorish kavyochel from jealousy. Kinah is jealousy. If you go to someone else, you're mezana tachas bala, that type of anger we find is called the Lashon kinah. So Ramban is marich, bariches, sasachmul, that was the Eibishter genommen Klal Yisro fa'ime, v'atem tial di mamlechas kahanim v'goy kodosh, v'yisam nisegilam kaluamim, v'avdul eschem li la'om. Klal Yisro is the chosen nation, ata v'chatunim kaluamim, von alle imes oilam, this is du kavyochel, von isho lebalo, von the keshe von Klal Yisro tzakadosh Baruch Hu. Is this, as we find by isho lebalo, we also find the kinas ishte, if a yid goes and is over avodah zorah, we find the Lashon kinu there. So now all other is there's a fundamental chilik between avodah zorah and all other avayros. All other avayros is tzivim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's taryag mitzvahs, there's armach mitzvahs hasei, so mitzvahs lois hasei. The Eibush is mitzvah you to do these mitzvahs, don't do these avayros. And if you're over on it, you're over on Rotzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you get punished. You were over on Ritzono Yisbarach not to do this, he has to do that, and you didn't do it, and you're over on Tzonah. Avodah zorah, except what's the greatest sin, is the biggest one, is the biggest sin what you can be over. You're boiged kavayochl and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're boiged, you're going away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you're going to someone else. So now we find all the mitzvahs, when it comes to mitzvah pekiyach nefesh, you don't have to be mekayim in the mitzvahs. You can be over a loisase, because Torah was given v'chayim, able to live, and if you have a mitzvah pekiyach nefesh, you can be over. That's only going to take you away when there's a isser. There's a famous marik. Marik says there was a shaila that came to the marik. There was an isha. She said she was by Gila Roy. So the halacha is if someone is mizana tachas bala, she gets nesro lebala. She's also lebala. But if she was oinus, someone was ma'anaser, someone forced her to do it, and she's not also lebala. Or she's a shoygig. She mixed up. She thought her husband was dark and she was someone else. Nish nesro lebala. Why? But so the Marik takes out from this halacha that a shaila came to him. A lady said she didn't know there's an issa to be mezana. She doesn't know. So usually in Hilchas Shabbos, someone says, I didn't know there's an issa to bake on Shabbos. I didn't know there's an issa to put on the light on Shabbos. That's called the shaygig. Oimer mit is one of the two options of shaygig. One say he didn't know it's Shabbos, or oimer mit, he thought this is not an issa. So she says, I didn't know it's issa to be mezana. She should be mitter labayla because she thought it's mutter. So Marik said, what?
How could she be married if she doesn't know?
No, she knows she's married. She didn't know there's an issa to be mezana. Okay, so Marik says in Znis there's no such a thing. It doesn't say in Posek Imu'alu Bashem. By Soite it says Imu'alu Boy. The sibbe she gets Nasr Lebala is not because she was over in Avayra. Even though there is no Isser. The sibbe is the Begida Babala. She was boiget in her Bala. She was boiget in her husband. That's no difference if she knows it's also al pitayra. There is nicht also al pitayra. the begida babala stays and she's Nesser Rabbanan. It brings a famous raya from Esther Amalka. Esther Amalka went into Achashverosh. Matcha Tzadik told her to go in to save Klal Yisrael, and she says, Kasher uvadati. So Rashi says, brings from the Gemara Megillah, Kasher uvadati. Ad achshav, I was ba'oines. I didn't want to be with Achashverosh. From now, I'm going in myself. So I'm bringing myself to this. It's Bereshit, so now I'm going to get Osir to Matcha Tzadik. She was Matcha Tzadik's wife. From now that she's going in herself, she's going to be Osir to Matcha. So Merik says, I don't understand. What's going on? Esther Malke, Vatil Bash Malchus. Chazal learned out she was Levish Riach HaKodesh at the time she went into Achashverosh. And Tosfos is marach, how Taka was Esther, how was she able to go in Ayer Gval Yavor? So either Tosfos says Teritzim, or Karka Olam for the issue of this Nishkan Yer Gval Yavor, or there's Merik has a tzad that Latzolas Kol Yisrael, if you're able to be Matzil, save Kant Kol Yisrael, you're allowed to be over. Whatever the teretz is, but it was permitted and was mitzvah at that point, and was even a mitzvah. We find she was Leibish Riach HaKodesh at the time. She was being Mekayim the greatest mitzvah to save Klal Yisrael. And in Kol she says, Kasher vadati. Even though I'm doing a mitzvah, I'm doing the right thing that I need to do and I must do right now, I'm still being Nesar to Matcha Idai this. So you see from this that the Isser Labala nennt sich nicht Mekoyacha Isser, es nennt sich the Eitzen Meise Begida Ba'alme. The same thing Rav Hutner says is by Avodah Zorah. Even though there is no Isser for Avodah Zorah, there's still so bleibt a Begida HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yebegida HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So V'chaybuhem tells you that B'chol Nafshechu is not said, B'chaybuhem tells you that all the mitzvahs are not said, B'mokim Pekich Nefesh. So there is no Isser. You have to be Mechal Shabbos Pekich Nefesh. There is no Isser because you have to be Mechal Shabbos. You have to eat Chaylev, whatever dam, whatever is to save yourself. You're allowed to be over. But the Isser of Avodah Zorah also goes away. There is no Isser to the Avodah Zorah because V'chaybuhem, you have to save yourself. But the Begida still stays. And the Chiv Yerek Val Yavar is going to be because he's still going to be a Begida HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's not forced to. He's kill yourself. He's doing it. He's doing it on purpose, but he wants to do it for a reason to save himself. So if someone wants to go to get married to someone else because to save her life, she's also going to be Nesa Labala. It's still a begida if she went to someone else. Even what the reason why she did it was to save herself. Esther Malka went to save not only herself, was to save Gans Klal Yisrael. It wasn't there's a Shiva Nevid also. Someone was whatever they captured and they wanted to, some lady gave her over herself also. It says she's also. So Mash Einkein B'chol Moedecho there's no heter of Uchaybuhem. So B'chol Moedecho bleibt bei allem mitzvahs. Beitzem v'aftu es Hashem lekechu said you have to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have to be Mekayim all his Taryag mitzvahs. All his mitzvahs are saying cannot be over. None of his mitzvahs lo says it. But there's a heter that's called V'chaybuhem. That's matter all is serious in b'mokem pekich nefesh. But when there is no matter of pekich nefesh, b'chol moedechu, bleib da loche from v'haftu es Hashem elokechu b'chol moedechu ba'ale loiseses. Aber man darf weggeben kol moedei. Aber bei Avodah Zorah, was man darf geben b'chol nafshechu, nennt sich nicht mit Zad Isser, nennt sich auf der Isser schon mit als v'chaybuhem. Das ist eine different Sache, that you beuget in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I think as Rashi's, I heard this, Rashi is very, very, very medikdik. Kimt aus in Chet Weigel, was wie ein Zweinekind ist. It was the sin of Avodah Zorah, the Avaira von Avodah Zorah, was man Teuve gewinnt. Was auch hat gewinnt, der Begid in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hat Klal Yisrael hat Begid gewinnt in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Es mir redt ein Parshas Kesisu, man will geben der Einisch, der Perunis, was kommt sich auf der Ovain Weigel. Rashi uses his lotion is ein Perunis Boli Yisrael she'ein loi mi Ovain Hu Eigel. It's still from she'ein b'ktsas mi Peron Avoin Hu Eigel. In Parshas Pekida Rashi says shevitel HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Maisa Hu Eigel. The Vatronis wasn't on the actual Avaira. The actual Avaira Kimt sich Einisch and Klal Yisrael leider gada Einisch from this throughout the generations and so do Einisch. Aber das ist die andere Sache. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is coming to be mashrish chinosoi b'seicheni. Kavyochel back to the old relationship that is given with Klal Yisrael. Mach nashur as hashchina badem. Badem, if Klal Yisrael was nidden kesoite, we find last week's parasha, was nidden kesoite, so they broke this relationship. HaKadosh Baruch Hu came again to be mashrish chinosoi b'nayim. He's mevater on this begide. Begide is nicht kein Aveira. There's no supposed Vatronus of Azami Zach. There's no Aveira of begide. Begide was that she was the class of Begide when I could work. Of them is the Vatronus al Maisa Weigel. On Oven Weigel there is no Vatronus. There's a Einish. But on Maisa Weigel this is the Vatronus. It's one steht in Sachs so Moment Chido brings it, Sachs brings it from that the Ikke, the Gemara from Mechias HaMolek is going to be on Erev Pesach. It starts off with Purim and finishes off on Erev Pesach. And it's 30 days. And Chido brings it, Sachs brings it, there's a Remez. Amalek is Gematria 240. There's 3 mitzvahs we find in Amalek. Mitzvahs Zochor v'lo Sishkach. Chazal say lo Sishkach belev, Zochor b'peh, and there's mitzvah Mechias HaMolek. It says Machshovet Dibber and Maisa. Machshovet Dibber and Maisa. If you Amalek 240 times 3, you get to 720. 24 hours times 30 between Purim and Pesach is 720. 24. This is the ganze Zman from Purim to Pesach is the Zman of Mechias HaMolek. And Sachs vor steht, as was gewinnen Amalek. Amalek gekommen, shekarchu bei derech, bei Zanach bechol, kala nachsholem achrech. So Rishonim say, they have an Ezra on the plot, what's meant kala nachsholem? Swip around the ches and the lamed, it's chaloshim. The people are schwach. That's what I'm saying. Nicht dafki gewein. Rashi says even the ones who were outside the Onan. Nicht dafki gewein as was Ashekarchu for the Imes Oilam. The Ambatir Isachas, die machen kalt for alle in Imes Oilam. Was more also this Klal Yisrael geworden. Fin Yetzias Mitzrayim, Leides von Am Yisrael. Der Eibishter genimmer ausgenommen nach Imme, Shaloike Derech HaTeve. Amalek gekommen sagen, es ist nicht so, it is. You are Derech HaTeve. You don't have that relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Das ist gekommen beikir von kalt machen. In Klal Yisrael allein kann ich schon machen zu being them seit sie machen nicht so mit Kische mit HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Es da weiter von all these days to be machen Mechias HaMolek ist zu gedenken der Atav Chatoni mit Kaluamim. The Kische we have more von alle Mesuolam. The Chir von Klal Yisrael Dafka of Klal Yisrael. Mit solche sind sie jetzt kommt es Chosser und Alkala Yusuf Erreichen Lekayach Mahero.